into the I-80 Club Wednesday night into club. And God, Jack, it feels like that we're in the club when that countdown music hits, man. We are jamming.
Here we go. Me and Fred ready to go on a Wednesday night in late August. We got news to talk about. We got football less than 10 days away now. We have got everything. We got everything. And we're glad to be here on a Wednesday night with the I-80 Club, leading into going on a bit of a streak here. If you are listening to this and you are not a member on a Wednesday night when this thing goes public, time to begin being a member. The season's almost here, and you're going to get your chance to test it out in multiple ways, starting 1 week from the time that we are recording this. Okay, it may not be 1 week from when you listen. We're doing it on Wednesday, August 21st, 2024, 8:01 p.m. 1 week from now, we do our next Wednesday night show, the regular Wednesday show that we're doing now, and we will make that free to the public. So we will put out the link on YouTube, and you can join us via YouTube if you would like to. The other thing you will have an opportunity to do starting then, I think that day, Josh, we will make that available if we haven't, or have we done this already? Maybe it's available now. We are making available through Patreon the option to do a 7-day free trial.
It is available right now.
You can do it now. Okay, you can do it as soon as you see this. So a 7-day free trial, and this would be to our community level. This gets you access to all the live shows that we do. Every show that we do, you get to watch it live, be a part of the live studio audience, or get it immediately thereafter on demand. It also gets you into our Discord, which is our community feature of this, and one that's a little hard to describe here during these shows unless you actually live it and try it. And so that's what we want people to do, because we think they will really like it. We think we have a superior, different community to what people are used to when they think of internet social media, internet message boards. We think ours is it's a little higher brow. It's better. There's something there for everyone. It's through Discord, so it's technologically superior to everything everyone else has gotten. We think quite a lot of it, to be honest. And we think you will too if you try it. And so if you've always been like, I kind of like to see what that is, but I don't want to commit to it, you don't have to. Now, just go to our Discord, the I-80 Club Discord, try that 7-day free trial, and get on the Discord, check it out, try it out, do the live shows. And if you're like, not for me, you can back out. You could do 0, or you can just say, hey, I'm just going to do the content tier, which is $5, and that's just no Discord, but it's watching everything. It's all it's the keys to all of the shows via YouTube. So your choice, but we'd love for you to try it out, and we're going to welcome you with open arms if you jump into the community.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So the next week and change is going to be great. As Jack mentioned, we'll be doing a Wednesday pod next week. And if you do the 7-day free trial, we'll also be doing a watch party behind the paywall on Thursday for the first half of the Colorado North Dakota State game inside of the club. So that will only be available inside of our Discord server. And then Saturday morning, our bread and butter, the Saturday morning coffee show. Again, next week, we will allow for a free for all, and then we will do I-80 Club After Dark. Makes its triumphant return next Saturday, and we'll do some post-game coverage of Nebraska and UTEP. So we have all of that coming up. Also, if you're listening to this, I guess, on the free feed, go check out YouTube. Be Kind Husker Rewind. We uploaded it. For those who are listening live, we're uploading it Thursday. We're going to put it on YouTube, and we're hoping that it stays on YouTube. Shout out to Matt, Mavs guy. He edited the audio with the Miami 2014 game, and did an incredible job. Been messaging with him throughout the last week and change about this. Thank you so much to Matt. So we will be putting that on YouTube Thursday morning is when that will go live. If you would like to check that out, we think that it is pretty cool, pretty special. So you can go check it out there as well. So that is what we have going on. But as Jack mentioned, we'd obviously love to have you become a patron. We think this season is going to be more fun than we have done before. And we have a lot. We talked, Jack, with our board members on Monday. We got some bonus stuff that we plan on doing throughout this season with more outside club members. We know that people really like it when we get a chance to talk to guests. We already have a couple of those lined up through October that would drop as potential bonus episodes and more. So we would love to have you joining us, patreon.com/I-80 Club.
Come, join, enjoy, try it out. Yeah, you don't like it, you don't like it. We can mutually part ways, but we think you'll like it. And I think this is the best opportunity we've ever had for people to give it a try and not necessarily have to fully commit. So there you go. No, I'm not solo next Wednesday. We are not
No.
solo.
No. Nope, no solo. Jack will be here. I will be here. Jack will be here. I will be
We
here.
will all
Jack
be
will
here
be
for
here. I
everything
will
for
be
the
here.
foreseeable future. Yes.
Yep. The only time that things get wonky is when I'm in Chicago for my marathon, but thankfully it's a bye week that week, so Nebraska doesn't play. But that's a problem for October I-80 Club, not for August I-80 Club.
Yes, absolutely. All right, where to start? We had kind of a relatively news day Wednesday today.
Yeah. Indeed.
Dylan officially the starter, and so the story you feel like you have to bring up during dog days of talking season, you no longer have to bring up, even though it really didn't matter. Even though it felt like you kind of maybe should ask it every once in a while, but you also knew it really doesn't matter. It's going to happen eventually. I don't know when. It's going to happen eventually, and it's going to be Dylan.
Yeah.
We can put that to bed. And this is why I was just hoping that they were going to do it eventually.
Yes, exactly, because now we don't have to worry about it anymore. Now, no longer will John Bishop be able to ask Michael Bruntz, hey, do you think Daniel Kalen is in this starting quarterback race? Which brings about a wild reaction for me, and then another wild reaction because Michael Bruntz said, yeah, I think so. And I was like, what? What the hell are you talking about? So, yeah, I'm with you, man. It's just like, it's nice. It's nice that it is done. It is nice that we don't have to wonder anymore. We don't have to opine anymore. We don't have to add that stupid caveat of, well, just in case, or maybe it'll be like, it's wonderful, man. It is absolutely wonderful that this is not a question that needs to be asked anymore.
Agreed. Put it, you knew it was coming. Now you do. I'm sure everyone else involved with it, from Rule to Dylan to the backups, are also relieved in the same way about this whole thing. Now you move on and you get ready for UTEP. So excited to see it. And now we can finally, not that we couldn't do this before, but now you can kind of turn the page and just start to think about what you expect from a true freshman who's obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the class, but is yet nonetheless a true freshman that has no college game experience. And I don't know, but I'm very excited to see, Josh. I'm very excited to see. I think an interesting question, and I don't know the answer for myself, is like, how much will we take from the UTEP game just in terms of, and obviously as the season goes on, everything will change. But I wonder how strong the immediate reactions will be, positive or negative or in between, just kind of based on the UTEP game. It probably depends what people's expectations are going in. And again, I don't know what mine are. I don't know. I think he'll probably make a couple of mistakes. I think he'll make a couple of here's truly what I expect. I expect probably an interception. I expect like 3 or 4 passes that are just like, whoa, we haven't seen those passes for a long time. And then because it's, I think, against a defense that maybe this Nebraska offense will be able to have some success against, I think he'll end up putting up pretty good numbers. Like, that's my expectations for the UTEP game. I would say
it's fun.
It's kind of put it down there.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that you're like, you don't know your exact expectations, because Josh also posts D'Lo says, most anticipated player since ... question mark. And that is you want to talk about a through line of this offseason, man. A through line of this offseason is like this excitement, obviously. And I don't want to say it's tepid excitement, because that implies, I think, more negativity. But certainly a bit of like distance, certainly a bit of, I don't want to get hurt again. And most definitely so what exactly can this guy do with these players around him? And I know that you came on the Grum on Monday, and I asked you a question of like 3 positions you're most and least confident in. And that ended up leading into this large discussion about the wide receivers and how I feel about the wide receivers versus how you and John feel. And it's not that you're negative with them, but you are definitely not as bullish as I am with that group. But I think that has played a part. The offensive line and how they have been in recent years has played a part. The running back room and our lack of confidence with that has played a part in, again, not tepid, but, slow to crown this guy. Like, Jack, I'll be honest, I think that people were more confident in Adrian Martinez going into 2018 than they are going into year 1 of Dylan Raiola, even though he was a true freshman and Raiola is a true freshman. Now, part of that... So? I think so. Part of that, maybe year 1 of the head coach. And so more trust in Scott Frost at the time. I mean, certainly that guy was the most trusted head coach in years around here. And I think that there was a belief, though, and this is, I think, maybe the bigger key. There was a belief in his offense, and I don't think that there is a belief in this offense. And I think that has, again, how much that is playing a part.
So your theory is essentially that people trusted Scott Frost, at least from an offensive perspective, more than they trust Matt Rule and or the offensive staff right now.
Yes,
and
I think so.
So they were really trusting the coaching and the scheme more than anything. At that point.
They trusted the coach. They trusted the player.
It's hard to go back and put myself in that position, at least for me. And I think I've thought you went back and read my tweets at the time. Like I thought the over the top stuff was a little ridiculous that was for the sophomore year. Actually, you're right. That was the sophomore year
season.
So I don't know, man. I would say for me, I'm more excited about Raiola than I was Martinez. Not to be down on my expectations for Martinez then, but yeah, I think there's just a different level of just coalescence of scouts, recruiting services, everybody talking about this guy differently than they ever did Adrian Martinez.
100%. Because this goes beyond us locally. Like, dude, I don't know how many pods I've listened to this year. So one of the ones actually I've gotten into lately, I think I mentioned this recently, is Kings of the North. It's Doug Lesmarie and Bill Landis, and they cover the North. They cover the northern part of college football, which I think is a fun, refreshing listen. I've been listening to that for 3 or 4 weeks. Dylan Raiola has come up in maybe 90% of the episodes.
Wow.
I certainly listen to SCD Until Saturday, all these pods. Dylan Raiola comes up a ton as a player. And Adrian Martinez, now I wasn't intaking probably the number of podcasts back in 2018 as I am now. Adrian Martinez was not coming in with the level of discussion and discourse surrounding him as Dylan Raiola is. And so, one of the things that I know that you and I have talked about a lot lately is like, he is now going to be the story, and he is now going to be a superstar until he shows that he is either not a superstar or he definitely is. Like, he will be talked about as such. I think that is just I'm with you. I think that I am expecting more from him. I was listening, Jack, on my way home today. I was listening to the 24/7 pod, and it was great because they reacted live, like with 15, 20 minutes to go. The news came down. They just actually predicted, hey, when do you think it'll be announced? And they all thought it would be.
Of course, they had to have it as a topic too, right? Because we all did.
We're all doing it. Yeah, they thought that it would be on Rule's show tonight. And so that they reacted. Bruns brought up something that I had totally forgotten about, and I'm wondering if you remember this. Do you remember Pro Day, which was like the first time locally that people got a chance to actually watch him when he was throwing to wide receivers? And media who was there left it saying, oh, okay, I get it now. And I think there was a couple of videos that came out of that from like KETV or whatever, where it was like, oh, he does look different.
I do remember that. I do remember that now that you mentioned it. Yes.
Yeah, so it's a fun reminder of like, when he signed in December, it was exciting. When January arrives, it's exciting. But when he actually threw the ball in front of people in March, I think that's when the conversation changed from, oh, he's a 5-star, that's cool, to, oh, this could be something really special if everything is able to coalesce around him.
Mm-hmm. I can't be clear. Like, my expectation is there will be mistakes, there will be interceptions, there will be bad throws. There will also be plays where you think where you see it and he's like, man, remarkable decision to find that guy, remarkable arm, remarkable fitting into a tight window. I think you will see that this isn't a very out on the limb thing to say, I realize, but I'm going to go in expecting all of those things. So I don't think I'll react too surprised negatively or positively to either of those things for him. Because I think he's going to have moments. He's going to have moments that are unbelievable, and he's going to have true freshman year moments, all within the same game early in his career. I fully expect that. Like, I'd kind of be surprised if he doesn't throw an interception against UTEP.
Yeah, it'd be pretty interesting.
That's an interesting question. Yeah.
Yeah, like what if he 3-4 touchdowns, no picks, 70% completion percentage, and it's like, oh God,
Right? I know.
We think it's hyped now, but Jack, what if in 10 days you and I are doing that show at this exact time, by the way, we'll be on at 8:00 on Saturday the 31st, and we're like, oh my gosh, he didn't just deliver, but he totally delivered. Because then it makes the Colorado game all the crazier.
Right. It's going to make it more exciting. You're just going to see now. I want to see what he does, how he does against I say better, and better's doing a lot of work, but a better defense in Colorado, right? Yeah. So, yeah, it'll be fascinating to see how quickly people will get on his ass, right? Because he's the quarterback. Of course they will. They will. Will it be the first game ready? Will they give him leeway? And then just the opposite side, like how quickly are people who are sort of skeptics and were sort of like just holding back on this thing, trying not to get too carried away with the hype? How quickly will they buy into the hype once they see it with their own eyes?
Yeah, it's like once
it'll be fast. I bet.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really fast because the good parts are going to look markedly different. That's my point, Josh. The good things are going to look markedly different.
Yes,
the bad things will still be there.
It's a great way to describe it. You're hoping that his floor is like way higher, but that his ceiling is like, holy shit, look at that. Look at this guy's ceiling and what is he going to be able to do? Brady says, other than Trey Palmer, when was the last time an offensive player over-delivered? What a fun topic that is. Well, depressing topic, but also a very good question.
Stanley Morgan, maybe?
Yeah, that's a good one. Stanley was awesome, and I don't think that was expected. And before him, you're probably talking about Amir.
Yeah.
Yeah,
probably Stanley Morgan.
Fast, man. Yeah, Stanley Morgan.
Well, maybe Ozigbo. That's a good one. Ozigbo.
Yeah, but it took so long. JD Spielman. That's a good one from Taylor.
Yeah, Spielman. I like Spielman too.
Spielman was definitely not expected to be the guy that he was. Definitely not expected to be the guy he was.
I think that's the group though that was just named in that series of tweets right there. That's pretty much it, right?
The
in terms of the group of guys. About the over delivered thing.
Yeah, Keena says it's really interesting how cool the program has played it with Dylan, not showing him in the YouTube show at all, announcing he's the starter the way he did. Yeah, for sure. I thought, I thought that it was going to be incredibly casual. Look, like Jack
matches everything. It matches everything. Gerald Armstrong, Ponca, Nebraska, 90 foot war number 95.
Here we go. Right. Classic. It's so I thought for a while, like especially this week, as starting quarterbacks are being announced around the country. You know who is announcing the majority of them? Pete Thamel, who has announced various things at Nebraska. Pete Thamel. And so
that's interesting.
There was a part of me that was like, oh, it's probably going to be Pete. And so that it wasn't, I feel very comfortable in saying that, this is a guess, but that Matt Rule has been giving Pete that information, or at the very least has been giving the go ahead for the various things that when Pete Thamel has tweeted out, about Evan Cooper and John Butler, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And so for a while, I thought it was going to be that. It's ultimately not. It's the program, and it's the program in the most benign, chill tweet ever. It's just him in a practice jersey. He's going to start game one. A couple hashtags. See you later. It very much does fit the ethos of how they've handled the entire situation.
Everyone was like, I love how they did that, or noting how they did it. And for whatever reason, I didn't think of having a national reporter break it, which I didn't realize that's been happening with some of these, but that makes all the sense in the world now. And you're 100% right. Everything in the way that he's been promoted or hyped or not hyped by anything that this program puts out has been very understated on purpose, to the point of erring on the side of understating it. It almost feels like at this point. And this does go along with that. And I think I fully get why they're doing it. Like, I totally get why they're doing it. It lowers the pressure on him, right? It lowers the expectations of everyone. And if and when those things happen, and they're going to happen, even that's going to, maybe it might just be minor, but that's going to kind of take down the temperature on the what everybody's expecting and how quickly this happened. If you're, instead of throwing the gates open and making a huge national deal about the whole thing. So
yeah, 100%. It is. I'm just so freaking happy that it's 10 days away now, man. Like it's been one of the more interesting times that I can remember, mainly because they're just so bad. They've been so bad. And then yet they get this player that, is theoretically transcendent and could change everything overnight. One of the things, Jack, that we have spent a lot of time talking about, of course, is the Chasing 3 doc. Do you think that we see that, like, that he finally now is included in the next episode, where him getting told he's the starter is included? Do you think that we get that, or you still think no?
Absolutely not. Nope.
Interesting.
I don't think they no, I don't think so. Like maybe they'll do one more. I'm not even sure how many more there will be. I suppose maybe there's probably going to be one more. I would think they've been kind of firing them out quickly lately, but yeah, there'll probably be one last one. But my prediction is no. Now watch it be, an hour of Dylan Raiola when they do the next one.
Yeah, I definitely think he's finally going to show up in it, but will he show up in it? As
I don't know. I don't know why they would do it now if they didn't do it before, just because he was named starter.
Because he's a named starter now. Like, I guess it just goes back to my theory that they have.
I don't think it's about the competition in practice. I think it's about the pressure on him and the reaction to him by the media and fans and everything else. I think it's about maximizing his ability to go in sort of without the weight of the world on his shoulders, which he already has, but it's taking a tiny bit off it. I don't think that changes after they name him starter.
He definitely has the weight of his world on his shoulders. Are you so let me ask you this then. And again, Dog Day is a question asking. We're trying to ask different questions than we have asked. How big of a concern is that for you? The weight of the weight of the program, the weight of the world, that his last name is Raiola, his dad's name is on the stadium. How big is that in terms of your thought process?
I think he is kind of made for this moment, and I think he's ready for this moment. I think he's got a pedigree for this moment, and I think he's been thinking about this moment. So if I'm being honest, that part of it doesn't worry me all that much. I think he very much will welcome that. I think that's what he's been. I think that's exactly what he's been looking for since he realized he was good enough to play at this level. So I got to be. I think he's got good people around him, including Matt Rule, but including people who are just around him that are really preparing him for exactly that going forward. I think, and that you've seen this before where pick Jamal Lord, right? He didn't have the kind of Jamal Lord didn't have anything like the kind of support structure that Dylan Raiola had. He has got people here. He's got people here for him, right? That are not even his coaching staff. It's a whole different deal than a guy like, who really had it way down on him and who was feeling the pressure of everyone. Yeah. So no, to answer your question, I don't lose sleep about that. I mean, I think the biggest thing the biggest thing with him I lose sleep on is that he's going to get injured.
Get hurt because because of
or he's just under so much fire.
Yeah.
He's just under so much fire, which I don't really necessarily have a reason to think that. I'm not that down on the offensive line, but I think I have been a little bit measured in talking about what his ceiling is going to be quickly, but I also do feel pretty strongly that his floor is going to be fairly high pretty quickly too. So.
Well, yeah, there was a comment a few minutes ago. I think it was from Bruce. That was like everything he's heard is he just doesn't make mistakes. Yeah, here it is. Everything I've heard about him is he just doesn't screw up. And I definitely think that is a part of it too. But he also has, again, he's going to have some of those really special wow plays. Jack, I don't know exactly what I can say about the volleyball doc because I had access to it early, and so I don't. Even though this is behind a paywall right now, I can't really say a whole lot. I think it's till tomorrow is when like the kind of like lock and key that they're lifting on it is coming up. But I will say this: one of the parts of the story that they do dive into is mental health of athletes and social media. Take that with what you will and guess on who they're talking about, maybe in particular. Made me wonder as I watched it and as we talk about it, what Dylan's relationship is with social media and how he approaches it, how he manages it, and how much he reads into that. That stuff very much matters with the athletes of today. I assume he has a TikTok. He obviously has an Instagram. I'm pretty sure he has a Twitter, right? Like
he's got people posting for him though.
But how much is he? I'm talking about reading. I'm talking about like is he hopping into the mentions?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. That's what I'm wondering about.
Yeah. This guy, Keena. Sorry, Keena's comments. Keena, but I'm referring for those who are listening to our Discord live audience right now, and Keena is the funniest person per word in the I-80 Club by a long ways. Yeah, definitely over me. So she said, I heard Professor Snape kills John.
Spoiler alert
at the end.
Yeah, it's a small thing, but the directors asked us like, hey, don't share any.
That's funny because I interviewed. That's it, buddy. Because I interviewed John Baylor, and he told us quite a bit about it on my show on Tuesday.
I'm still stunned that you had access to get it, and you were like, "Nah, I'm good. I don't want access to this."
Just to do the interview.
I figured you'd be all over it.
I don't. Do you know what? I mean, this is inside baseball. Nobody cares about. I just don't ever say yes to interviews that are not my regular guests.
Wow, really?
Almost never. Well, first of all, I only have like 2 segments an entire week that I could even do them.
Oh, that's true.
Our show is so planned. There's so few of them.
Yeah.
And it's just, I kind of like, I'm getting to be an old man with this show. I just like to do it to know what's coming far in advance, not to plan for one-off interviews.
Okay.
So I didn't. I probably should have, but I didn't.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, now they're making the rounds, so
everybody did it though. So
yeah. I didn't realize that, but yeah, it was really cool that it was like, all right, you want to do the interview? Sweet, here you go. Here's a download link to the documentary, and so I got the hour version of it, watched it, and it was very, very good.
You have to send that to me.
Now, I'm not going to do that for anyone who's listening at a later date.
Adam said Dylan survived that super cringe poem in his commitment to equation. He good. Yeah.
You
got through the first misstep.
Yeah. That was tough. Let's hope that that's the only interception that he throws to the defenders. In his early days.
I don't know. I was just going to say, what are the commenters like? What are your expectations? Like, how excited for you or for him are you? Like, how quickly do you think you're like, what are you waiting to see? Or what is your biggest sort of question mark about what he's going to look like as we get going on this whole thing? Like we both said, or at least I said a lot of what I expect, but I'm curious what more of a sample of people think on that. Yeah. So I'm interested in hearing that in the comments.
So let me give you, while people type, let me give you a couple things that I'm interested in. So one is the obvious, and that's just game one, how he responds to it. His first ever college start. It's an opponent that Nebraska is a 4-touchdown favorite against, right? So like the expectation is that they go out and play well. D'Lo says, does he look like a freshman? Excellent question to answer that we will be able to see, good or bad in game one. The other thing that I'm wondering about though, Jack, is then like, okay, no matter what happens with Colorado, Nebraska has this massive, massive, massive game the very next week. The largest audience of the season, in my opinion, for Nebraska will watch that, barring them being 7-0 and Ohio State being big noon kickoff, right? Like this will be the largest audience that watches them. It's going to be Colorado. They're going to look for revenge. Coach Prime time, NBC, all that. Like it's pretty cool that it's like this 1-2 punch of get the cobwebs out of the way with the first start, maybe get some of the nerves. And then it's like, all right, biggest game in a month and a half is going to happen. You don't have a bigger game until Ohio State. And so like, I can't wait to see just how the moment feels to him. And if we can tell on TV, like, oh, he's responding to the moment.
Exactly what Josh was saying. Yeah. D'Lo was saying, does he look in the moment? Does he look poised and comfortable and like he's got a low last year,
man? The Colorado game seemed to swallow him up.
Yep.
Totally swallowed him up. Does it do that for Dylan?
And again, and not to go back to something I've discussed a million times, but this entire program gets to a moment when the pressure turns up and they don't act like their best selves. Maybe he's going to have to be the model, right? To break that whole curse in that whole situation. So
yeah,
I don't know. Does he have it? Says D'Lo. It'll expose itself right away. IMO. Yeah. I think that'll be with those like wow plays. Those, I mean, I don't know how to say it better. I hate doing the comparison all the time, but Patrick Mahomes looking play, right?
Yeah.
When he does one of those.
Yeah, like when he showed up in the NFL, I was like, oh, this is different. A few other comments. Bruce says, most excited I've been in years. First time in over a decade, I feel like my hope isn't false. Adam said, I can't wrap my head around having a competent quarterback. Been burned since Sam Keller. Brady says, shit, we could be talking about Kyle McCord right now. So I'm absolutely stoked to see him ball out.
Kyle McCord taking strays there. Syracuse starting quarterback.
It is interesting, and they talked about this, and I actually mentioned this in the Husker channel a few minutes ago too. They talked about this on the 24/7 pod. There was a very real world where Kyle McCord was the quarterback, and the floor and ceiling of this season is actually very, very similar to what it is with Dylan. The Dylan play is about 25 and then 26. And while and I don't want to just be like, let's fast forward to next year. If all goes well this season, then that's when you start really, that's when you start dreaming a little bit bigger about what could be potentially, ahead for Husker football.
Here is one of the things I'm excited to see about him too. And obviously we are going to spend the next several shows starting a week and a half from now talking, just breaking completely down play by play everything that he does in these first few games. But I'm interested in how different he looks. Is Dylan in late October going to be very different than Dylan in August?
Great question. Yeah.
Now that he's got just the value of experience in those situations and the speed of those games and running the offense in practice, I don't mean in practice as in literally practice, but the practice of running the offense and getting that muscle memory down, all of those things, and knowing who his guys are throughout the year. Like, I'm really excited. That's one thing I will reserve a little bit of judgment on, because I've got to imagine, especially someone like him, there's at least the potential that he does look significantly different from, in 3 months, in 7 games of starting later this year. So
yeah,
that's one other thing.
Going to be fun.
Yes, for sure. All right. I want to see, Matt says, I want to see how many drives Jack's level-headedness survives.
Oh God, yes.
If he pulls up, I'm trying to think of the worst scenario for my level-headedness, right? Definitely a behind the back pass.
What if he does the hand thing like Mahomes? Can you get the play in?
That alone will not be enough for me personally.
Can you get the play in? D'Lo does point out the greats showed it early. Frazier, Crouch. Yeah, that's again. It is very much the it factor, right? Is the look about him, and if it seems different, if there is a noticeable difference in everything that shows up. Adam, if he throws an 80-yard bomb to Coleman on the first play,
that would be but good old number 11. I love good old number 11. Love to see it from number 11. Favorite number 11 since Kurienski Gilliland.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so I mentioned this in our most recent pod on Saturday that I will, at least I think I did, that I'll be in Northwestern for their opener for BTN, and it's the same time as Nebraska. And so it is going to be wild following the Nebraska game during commercial breaks on Twitter. And that is how I will be following it, scrolling through. And so look, like all of the writers, they're going to be professionals and, oh, wow, what a nice throw. I want to see Jack Mitchell unhinged, poked out, just like losing his mind for the stuff. That's what I want to see.
Again, and just to add the umpteenth time clarification, I will be excited. I will not necessarily translate it into full optimism about the season.
Yeah, definitely. We all believe you,
game.
Jack. We believe you, man. We definitely believe you.
You don't have to believe me. You'll know.
No, I said we do. We do believe you.
You'll know it from our interactions. We'll revisit this. Listen, this is why it's a great time if you're haven't joined us yet on the Ivy Club. You're watching this to make sure you get there. And you're able to be there Saturday night. I guess it's free anyway. But so to get there Saturday night and the future Saturday nights to track my commitment.
Yes.
At least the end of the Colorado game before I really start to unleash my optimism about the season.
Yeah.
Coked out on Diet Mountain Dew. Yeah, that's right.
He'll be coked out on something, man. He'll be coked out on something. I can't wait. I can't wait to follow along. So yeah, it's going to be, you want to talk about a weird ass thing that I will be, it's just like, I haven't watched a Husker game like that in years. I guess I've called a couple of soccer games, during them, but this will be something else entirely where I'll be at a different football game. And
that'll be, glad that's not me.
And then we'll pod that night.
Adam says something that I'm starting to wonder about. I'm starting to, there's starting to be a lot of Carter Nelson hype. I don't know. After I just went on this whole thing.
I'm not going to do anything.
No. But I just went on this whole thing when I talked to you, again, one of the many times I can't remember when I said it to you, but about how his transition was there's no way it could be that fast. I didn't think. And I thought he would get probably buried in the wide receiver room after this.
No, you thought you'd get buried in the tight end room.
No, the last time we talked about it, he was we talked about this just a few days ago when he was a wide receiver.
Wait, you were still kind of down on him like 3 days ago?
Not down on him. I just was saying how remarkable being able to insert himself into the regular playing rotation at a new position from 8-man football without having been there in the spring. And I still stand by that. If he does it, it's freaking remarkable. And the dude is something special if he can get into and
he just showed up. That's the
mean,
wild thing, Jack. It's
that's
not
what
even
I'm
that he's
saying.
a true freshman.
That's all I'm
saying.
saying.
Yeah,
he's a true freshman. He wasn't there in the spring. He's been playing at an unbelievably low level where I would be a top 5 player on the field. Just kidding. Calm down. Calm down.
Yeah. Top 10, not top 5, top 10.
It's their 16, so I'd be 10. But anyway, yes, like that's the crazy thing to me. And so if he is, I mean, I guess all that says is, well, I guess he is incredible. At least in terms of as an athlete and being able to pick up things. He was kind of big featured in the Chasing 3 on the last one.
Was he?
They brought him over to Urban Air, the trampoline park, like 2 blocks from my house, and he was knocking people out American Gladiator style on the jousting balance beam.
Oh my gosh. Don't put anybody on balance beams when they could get injured.
Yeah, no kidding. I saw him in there. I was like, dude, get those guys the hell out of there.
Yeah, seriously.
Go get him back in Selleck, drinking their jugs of water and playing NCAA 25. That's what I want to see.
I will say this.
Practicing.
So I'm definitely, if you were to ask me, me June 21st, 2 months ago, like, hey, what's your expectation for Carter Nelson this year? I'd be like, I don't know. Like, maybe some catches and show some of that raw athleticism. Hell, even a month ago, because I guess Big Ten Media Days wasn't here a month ago. When Rule brought him up by himself, I was like, okay. I always read way too much into those types of things. But if a head coach brings up a player on their own volition, in my opinion, I'm going to think something about that. That he has continued to talk about him, that they moved positions to my words, easier position, I guess, to get on the field. And then Sam talked about it after Sam McEwen talked about it after the 1890 thing. But that, like, he was like, he's got to catch the ball better. But he was running.
That's what he said to me too when I interviewed him. Yeah, that's exactly the same thing. Sam was saying to me. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's saying that, and it's like, all right, well, this is very interesting. Again, it's just
Sam's exact point was he's going to have no problem getting open. He'll just have to catch the ball.
And so think about that, man. Like that's how. Yeah, Brady says 2 months ago, I definitely wasn't expecting him to surface a wide receiver. Hell no. And it's I
didn't think I would surface a tight end.
Yeah, seriously. It's another reason why I like that room because, and look, all that we can go off of right now is practice. All that we can go off of is coaches saying things and what we are able to hear from people who see them or what we are able to hear from people who talk to somebody else who see it. It's like a game of telephone right now, right? And going off of that, Carter Nelson's been a dude. And you're right. Like what you just said, Sam's point was he won't have an issue getting open. Catch the ball and go from there. And that's pretty damn exciting.
My only point is if he is really in the mix in these first few games and making play, the dude is remarkable.
My gosh. Yes. Again,
that's remarkable.
Yeah.
Yes.
And listen, my concern 25, but Jack, if he's good now, what are we talking about in a year?
My concern about him, he wasn't physical enough to get around my son's weak-ass box out 2 summers ago.
You've been holding it against him for 2 years.
I know. I think I was overly influenced by that basketball game.
You perhaps were. So yeah, it's like, man,
he might not have been given his full heart in
the most effort with that squeak.
Yeah, it might have been.
Oh man, but yeah, seriously, man, if he is good early. It is going to.
What Matt says is interesting there. He says it seems like the kind of athletic freak that Juergens was. One thing I always remember, Frost talked about Juergens, and I know this from talking to Brendan Stye, who Frost right away saw Juergens and was like, that dude, when he came in as a tight end, he was like, that dude's going to be an offensive lineman in the NFL. Like the day he walked.
He's going to start. He'll be the starting center for the Eagles this year. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, of all the bad with Frost, he nailed that one, man. Like, shout out to Frost. He saw it and he rode with it when he was struggling, when he was snapping the ball over Adrian's head.
That's his biggest player success story
by far.
Which is interesting.
Not even close.
In fairness to Scott Frost, we don't ever talk about that, but that is by far his biggest player success, like his biggest development success story.
Yeah, it definitely is. Definitely is. Yeah. Adam, I had a roommate that beat Todd Peterson triple jump at track meet in high school and never shut up about it. Hey, that's solid. Keenan, God, I forgot about the snaps. I didn't. John and I were like, they need to bench him. They need to bench him. And like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I had that take in 2019, and he was snapping the ball all over the place. I feel like it's a solid take in the moment, even though he was able to turn into an NFL player.
Well, Matt says how much is despite Frost, how much credit to Frost. Frost moved him when other people didn't want to move him. So,
yeah, they wanted him to play tight end, right?
Yeah, yes, there were people who did not think that was a great idea. He saw it immediately. So, I don't know how much he did with the actual offensive line coaching of him, but like the vision that he had with him was pretty accurate. So, I thought it was.
Kelsey wanted the Eagles to draft him
so skinny.
He could. Yeah,
not skinny. He was strong as hell.
Yeah,
he was strong as an ox, but skinny is not the word. But he didn't look like an offensive lineman.
D'Lo, why do I get the feeling Frost had little to do with his development? Yeah, maybe we should not give Frost credit for the development, but just more he identified something that very few people agreed with.
Good God. I'm giving him like the most minor of compliment, which did turn out where he had vision for someone, and I think he had some role in his coaching there. So I think it's okay to have just a modicum of that worked out pretty well.
Screw you, Frost.
Good Lord.
Screw you, Frost.
Okay, fine. Whatever. Look at me being the Frost apologist again.
I know. Classic Jack. Well, for the record, you were for years, so I guess this isn't really that true.
I came on your show
10-2.
I came on your show and I ripped him when he talked about the Central Florida game in 1997. So I've had plenty to say.
He did have many times he brought up the Central Florida game. Many times.
He did, and then I brought up my being annoyed with it every single time quite a bit.
It was a bit. Thank you, Roscoe, for reminding us.
It was a bit. People forget.
It was indeed.
People forget. Hey, so a couple of things I saw on the old Chase 3. I got to look pretty closely who they were playing on the first teams there. Which I thought was
any news? Anything new?
Javen Wright was still playing when this was filmed, which is interesting. And so he was looking good, moving around well. Linebackers were interesting. It was MJ Sherman, Javen Wright, and John Bullock were the three that I saw with a little bit. And then there's a number I saw out there, and I'm aware of this guy. After having looked it up again, but 56 this year, Stephon Thompson, Syracuse transfer.
Yeah, the linebacker from Syracuse. Yeah,
he didn't look like he was in the first group, but I just saw a lot of him, and I feel like nobody's really talking about him. So I feel like he might be a thing.
Somebody brought his name up in an article or a podcast within the last week, and I was like, oh, Stephon Thompson. We haven't talked about that guy in forever.
The other thing that I felt like he's my dude in NCAA 25. He's starting in 25, D'Lo. That's what made me go back and look him up like a month ago when that came out. The other thing I noticed was that I forgot Vincent Carroll Jackson, that they've kind of forgot about him. That he's just Vincent Jackson now, but he was he looked like he was involved with some of the top players at the defensive line. Obviously, he's not. I don't think he's starting above Nash or Van Poppel or anything else, but it seemed like he might be. I'm just trying to sort of feel out, Josh, if they do this thing where they bring in random dudes that we never expected in the freaking first game, which they 100% could do.
All right, let me ask you this, because somebody asked this on Saturday and we never got around to it. You don't seem to like that they play so many guys. Why is that?
Oh, I liked it last year. I think my hope is that this year they are going to have so many guys that they feel like they can't afford to take off the field, that they're not going to. I think that's my hope is that they don't do it as much, and that is the actual reason why. That they feel like they're got. Now, will that really happen at linebacker? Probably not. It'll be interesting at defensive line, though, because I really wonder.
There's so many guys on defensive line.
I really wonder how they're going to. And plus, how in the hell are you going to take? I know you will based on different formations and a third down pass rush specialty, but how you're not going to take Nash and Ty Robinson out very often, right? I don't want them out very often unless they need to be. So how do you get all these other guys? But as Bruce says,
it keeps them fresh.
Yeah, I understand the purpose of substitutions,
but if the backups are good, still good enough, Ponro says 13 pitches. Yeah, there's the curveball and the fastball, and that's it. I'm not a baseball guy. But if that's, I feel like that's a positive. It's interesting, because you definitely, there is a bit of a negative tinge to it.
I do feel like sometimes they were looking for somebody to really seize
seize some of those spots.
Is
And
that
I think that's
you? Is
especially
that you
thinking about
applying how
linebacker.
you view it though onto them, or was it that they really liked the depth and that's what they wanted to do?
I don't know. It was fascinating. And again, I was super positive about this last year. Like I liked it and I liked that it was working, but I think that might have been something that was a little bit more unique to that first year than I would predict we see less of it. I wouldn't really say that I'm like passionate that it needs to happen.
Well,
less.
I think you are. It comes up like I'd say every episode you bring this up. And so it definitely seems like something I'm just
telling you. I'm just telling you. No, I'm just.
But I know, but
well, I'm just
you
telling
you're not
you.
super passionate. It seems like you are because it comes up a lot in our conversations.
I'm not. I think it's interesting. I'm super interested in how many of these guys are going to play and who they are. I'm always interested in that. And my prediction is it's not going to be as much this year because I think they're going to have a harder time taking some of those guys off the field than they did last year. But
I'm going to find that.
Not super passionate about it.
When was that Mitch Sherman story where he was like, "Hey, here's literally every player on the roster. Let me tell you about." I'm trying to find that because I think it'd be good to just have all of the names of every single. Here we go, projecting the 120 player roster. Basically, I just wanted to start reading off defensive line players and start figuring out like, okay, does that guy need to play a lot? All right, I'm finally there. All right, Nash. Obviously, we know he's going to be on the field a ton. Ty Robinson, Jamari Butler, Elijah Judy, A.J. Rollins, Cam Lenhart, Dylan Parrott, Riley Van Poppel, Kai Wallen, James Williams, Vincent Jackson, Keona Davis, Mason Goldman, Sua Lafotu, David Hofkin, Ashton Murphy, Jordan, it's a Choa, right? And so that's it. I mean, what did I name in there? 7 or 8 that we think are like, so it's what? Nash, Ty, Jamari, Cam, Van Poppel, Vincent Jackson, Keona Davis, James Williams, and I missed somebody. Did I say Judy? So what's that, Judy 8 or 9? That's 8 or 9. Yeah, that's a lot of guys, man.
There definitely is. And I also just think it's going to be hard to continue to use that many. I think it's not that you don't rotate. I understand you bring fresh guys in. I just don't know that there's 4 lines of defensive linemen. I don't think there's 4 line changes. There might be 1 line change, right? And a couple other guys. And last year, and I'm not even thinking when I'm talking about this, I'm more thinking about the linebackers, Josh, than anything, because that's this position I think they have the least depth at on the defense.
All right. Well, here, you want me to read those?
That linebacker, yeah.
All right, John. So he had 16 linebackers: John Bullock, M.J. Sherman, Javen Wright, Grant Buda, Makai Bayer, Stephon Thompson, Jacob Bauer, Noah Bustard, Vincent. I always forget. Is it Genatone? Player we don't say very much. Gage Stanger, Prince Will, Mav Noonan, Dylan Rogers, Smith Flores, Willis McGahee IV, and Vincent Shavers. Definitely not as many names from that group to say like that guy has to get on the field, but still a handful.
Yep.
What?
I'm annoyed as hell with this topic. So
why? This is a good topic.
I'm just not. I'm been given not by.
Would you stop it?
I'm annoyed.
Would you stop
I'm annoyed.
it?
I haven't been annoyed for so long on this podcast. I'm
Unreal.
annoyed right now. I try not to be. I'm annoyed right now. So
I had no idea. I was reading names and I look at your face and suddenly you're triggered.
No, I haven't been triggered for so long. I'm triggered now. I don't care that much about this. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
I thought this was a really fun topic. I thought this was a great topic.
Well, it is an interesting topic to me, but I don't mean to like be presenting like I'm have this weird like odd position on it. I'm dying on a hill about it. I'm just not. Like I love talking about personnel. I'm super interested in how they.
Roscoe says Jack wants to be the guy saying names. You took his bit. Is that what it is? I stole your bit away.
Wow, Matt. Wow, this is not helping. Not helping.
Wow.
I haven't done this for a long time. Again. I'm super annoyed. Okay.
Jack, we still have 10 minutes.
I know.
10 minutes of potting.
I know. I've been having so much fun lately. Okay.
We are. We're still having fun.
All right.
I'm still having fun.
All right. What else we got?
I don't know. You tell me. I thought this was a good topic and we could have kept going down that road.
I do like
Roscoe. Let Jack say some names. Jack, open up the story and read the corners.
No, I don't have the I do. I mean, I also know I have I'm more passionate about this I would say when we debated on Monday about the strength of the positions, I still think the secondary, I do not have the concerns that a lot of people do about the secondary. In part because I think arguably your two best players on the team make up 5 of the starters in the secondary. So like,
do you want me to read? Okay, do you want me to read those names now too?
So,
oh god, it's 25 of them. I don't know if I want to read 25 more names.
Yeah,
there are so many. There's so many names. I'm stunned. Here's something. 2 things for you. One is the actor, is good. Sierra Wright is good and is gonna play and maybe make an impact. Well, I'll give you 3 names. Bly Hill is practicing again. Didn't see that coming, Jack. I thought that he'd be gone for months.
That's good news.
And also, they're starting to become this little undercurrent of Caleb Benning. I don't know.
Really? I wondered. I thought it was interesting we hadn't heard anything about him, so I wondered how that was going.
Yeah. So maybe something to keep an eye out for. Something
Yeah.
to keep. Matt, do the offensive line. Let's just read the whole roster. Just read the whole roster together.
No, but seriously, in defense of the defensive back, I think your 2 best players on the team.
Jerry Lewis.
I think the 2 best players on the team are starting there. I think the other 2 of the other starters that'll be in that group will have. Well, it'll be interesting if they end up starting Buford. They move him to cornerback. Think about it: Tommy Hill, Gifford, Buford, Hartzog. The lowest starts, and then Singleton. The fewest starts, the fewest game time out of that whole group is Singleton, and that's just because he was injured last year. Otherwise, those guys are all 25, 30-ish starts for them during their career, every single one. And I know the concern was this filling in for Bly Hill if he got hurt. And I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know if it's going to be Buford in that spot. I don't know if Bly Hill's going to come in and do it. And so, yeah, is there one spot that I think is unsettled there? Yeah, but 80% of that group is seasoned, and we freaking know who they are. We really know who they are in terms of how much Buford has played, how much Gifford has played, how much Singleton has played, and just how much love Hill gets from everyone. Did you see the first round draft thing today? I mean, geez.
Dude, yeah, I know. You want to talk about a player that I was way wrong on? Earlier, we were talking about, hey, shout out Frost. You nailed it with Cam Jurgens. We were all idiots. Tommy Hill, everyone shit on that guy. Everyone.
Especially you.
Especially me. The guy was, did you see Happer had the hilarious tweet earlier? You know that meme that's been going around where it's the guy from the Conan video? Here, I'll post a screenshot of it because I'm doing a horrible job of trying to explain it. But he absolutely.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
All right. Yeah, I will post this into the Discord so people can see it. But it absolutely murdered me. Tommy Hill, the wide receiver. The guy was a wide receiver for time being. What are we talking about? Roscoe, he had a rough start. He stunk. Tommy, if you're listening, I apologize. I was way wrong on you, man. Way wrong.
In slightly your defense, you were tired of them trying gadgety things on offense with him, I think, when you made that comment.
Yeah. That was 22, right? I forget. What year
it was last year after it was last year when I'm remembering you say. You might have said it another time, but it was last year after they were trying to get him on offense when they were short on depth again.
Yeah.
It was before they started playing him regularly at cornerback again.
Yeah. Because, there was the stuff that came out, about him having a bad attitude or whatever it was. And now look at him. He's in a mock draft.
He said he could have some Palmer-esque bombs. There was a play, and now I'm not going to remember which game, where they were open and they missed him on just a fly pattern. He was wide open for a deep one and didn't end up getting it. But
yeah.
But anyway, but to my point about the defensive back, and then you got about four young guys at cornerback who, like you were saying, Josh, that we hear about at practice, person tells a person. I've heard things about multiple of those newcomer cornerbacks that are in there, from Amari Sanders to the younger Boodle to the younger Buford, right? To do Charles, the dunk contest guy. All of those guys have had their own times when I've heard really good things about them too. And again, that's just hearsay from practice. But I just, among the positions where I have a hard time getting worked up into worry about, that's pretty low on my list. I'm definitely more concerned about the linebackers than I am the defensive backs. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. You've been very consistent on this. So you're very much buying into the defensive backfield.
Yep.
Yeah, Brady.
That I'm passionate
Harper
about.
could hit Tommy on deep shots.
That's a much stronger feeling I have than having a desire for how many people play or don't.
I'm sorry, you had said this many times.
Never with any passion Okay.
No, it's not passion, but you just kept bringing it up, so it seemed like it was a topic that you were interested in.
Yeah.
My
I'm interested. Interest is the right word.
You were interested in it. You no longer, never again will we talk about the rotation.
Well, I'm sure we will right away on Saturday night, and that's totally fine. I'll be fine with it.
Husker from you. Remember when some people wanted Mickey as head coach? Yikes.
Yeah, I think I said I would take him.
Yikes. Yeah. Not great.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Should we? Let's see. Bruce says, should we talk punt returner and Michael putting Barney in the jet watch list? It is it was actually really interesting stuff. When what's his name? Special teams coach. I'm having a brain fart. Can't think of his name.
Foley.
When Ed Foley was up there talking. First of all, he when he talks, he feels like, even when he was like doing kind of a mea culpa for the way that he had coached special teams, he felt like he was yelling at me during that whole thing, which was kind of funny if you listen to it. But he was, we learned a little bit more. Apparently, Alvano's in camp. Apparently, he's not quite 100%, but like 90%. So I can't imagine what would go wrong with that. And then
I'm not feeling good about it, Jack. Not feeling good.
And then it's like IGC and Barney and talked about some of the names who would be doing returns too. And it's like everybody who got hurt last year was a returner, right? And that was part of the reason it sucked so much last year. But
among many reasons,
yes.
Look, dude,
I agree, Josh.
You talk about concerns, and I know that it comes up every time we do a list of concerns. The kicking game, we cannot talk about it enough. It is very fair to be concerned about the kicking game, in my opinion. And the punt game.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's going to lose them a freaking game this year, and I'm going to be incensed. A punt or a kick is going to lose them a game, and I'm going to be livid.
Well, the thing that should make you livid about it is that it's happened year after year after year, and
I know. Not to do the whole, they used to always be good at X. It's like, yes, I know. In the 90s, they were good at everything. That's why they won championships. But even in the post-championship era, they had good kickers and punters. This is a much more recent phenomenon. They've completely shit the bed at those positions for almost it's been a decade now, right? It's been a decade for Nebraska.
Well, when was the last time? When was the last time that they hadn't?
Drew Brown.
When was the time you felt good?
When was Drew Brown the kicker? Was it after? It was him, right? He's the last kicker that you felt actually.
We were just watching
about.
one of our Be Kind rewinds where he was kicking.
And Sam Foltz. Sam Foltz for punter, definitely. R.I.P. And he passed away. His last year was 2015. So it's been almost a decade for punters. I don't remember Drew Brown, but I think that it was around the same time, right?
Yeah.
Wow, Corny says Henry.
I,
so. I wouldn't
Henry
go back that far.
It would have been further back.
Yeah.
Henry.
I mean, even after him, they had Maher, and Maher was good. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a couple, actually, after that were punters, at least, that were okay.
Yes, for sure. So, yeah, I think Foltz is the last good punter, and then, I think Drew Brown is the last good kicker.
I just feel like we just watched one of our Be Kind Husker ones this summer, and Drew Brown was kicking, and we started talking about him.
I thought that was didn't we do the 2000 Colorado game?
Maybe it was Josh. Maybe it was.
Brown, yeah.
Or
what are the
maybe
games
it was
we did this year?
Chris Brown, his dad.
Oh, yeah. Brown was there 14-17. There you go. Yeah, so I'd say Drew Brown's the last good kicker they had.
Yeah, I'm probably thinking of when we watched the Oregon game, whenever that was. Yes.
Yeah. Not great. Matt, it's almost like we've taken a nosedive since Frost became coach. Yeah, 100%.
Pat Smith. I couldn't. Wow. Impressive name grab there. I remember that kick against Penn State. I would not have remembered that dude's name. There's a name I don't remember, everyone.
Wow, you love names.
Would not have remembered Pat Smith. I would not have done that.
Pat Smith, that sounds like a broadcaster. This is Pat Smith.
Yeah, it's Pat Smith there live. You are, yes.
For ABC News.
No, he's Corny, no Caleb Legborn love.
No, definitely. He had one solid season. That was the Bob Diaco year in 2017. Otherwise, Caleb
he's Chris's younger brother. That's right. I knew that. I forgot. They're just so far away in age. It's surprising.
Yes, it definitely is.
Yes.
God,
I do remember that now that you said that.
Yeah.
And then I also remember when there's a big press release that Chris was going to open a Dunkin' Donuts in Omaha.
Yes, we had him on the Grum. He brought us donuts.
Really?
Yeah, that was the first Dunkin' Donuts in Omaha.
He's way older than him. He is way older than him. Wow.
Chris Brown, fun fact, first autograph I ever got by a Husker, Chris Brown at the 1997
number 35.
Game. Yep. He was awesome. He one of the very few memories I have from that game is him having a kickoff that went through the uprights.
Wow, we didn't even talk about single-digit numbers. We didn't even talk about alternate jerseys.
Lack thereof.
No alternate jerseys.
Lack thereof.
which I would say I'm relieved by, was my general thought on that. On
You
the
and Brendan
jerseys.
should discuss it.
No, I was just relieved. I was relieved by that. The whole sort of, just the narrative around the whole thing. I'm just okay with missing it this year, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not going to feel like I'm missing out on anything.
There weren't old school uniforms though, right? Or is it for the 400 sellout? Isn't that like they remember
that hasn't been
jerseys?
confirmed? We were speculating about that.
Yeah, because like they showed up at the like one of the Husker Hound stores or whatever. So
yeah,
maybe they won't
I think
be.
that was
I guess that would count as an alternate, even though I would technically call it a throwback if I wanted to be a huge.
Yeah, I assume. I guess my read on it was they're wearing regular jerseys every year. When he said that, I thought he meant an alternate would also, the Venn diagram of alternates, throwbacks would be within that.
I guess, yeah, it does. Yeah, it would.
So, yeah. So, anyway, there's that.
What else did we miss? Did we miss anything else?
The single digits.
Yeah, in the single digits. Cool.
Like, there were some people not freaking out. There were some people saying they were concerned that there were no offensive players on it.
Yeah, I didn't really care.
Yeah, I just don't totally get the methodology. I think it's a player vote type thing. I just think there's a lot less guys, a lot fewer.
Yeah,
guys,
and there's a lot more of the leaders that have been around for multiple years on that side of the ball too.
Like
also,
I said, just the defensive backfield,
defensive-led team,
and the offensive line has all the experience, and you
Yeah.
can't do offensive linemen.
I can't remember if it was Happer or Mitch Sherman earlier today. They said something that I found interesting, and that's like when the offense lines up to play the defense, it's going to be like all these dudes wearing single digits across from them. Like that's going to be quite the look.
Yeah.
Wow, you don't like this.
Now you're right about that one. Now
Yeah,
you're right.
Because you want to know the name and number of every single player in the history of Husker football.
This one, you're right. I'm annoyed by this.
Wow.
I'm annoyed by. I'll die. This is a hill I will die on.
Yeah.
I don't think I like the single digit numbers. I don't like all the change 8 days, 9 days before the first game. Right?
I gotta study my roster some more. You're not even a broadcaster. You don't have to call the games. Who cares?
I just like to know I just like to know for my own edification who the hell people are without having to be cross-referencing. You know, I do have transitions lenses now, but if I gotta bust reading glasses out, and I don't know, and then you not only have the ones that go from double digits to singles, but then you've got the tertiary moves that come as a result of it. Right? And Malachi Coleman switching numbers and Buford last year was a 1. He's got to go to 24 because he can't have 1 anymore. And yet all
Big Red Roscoe says that's why he doesn't want so many guys playing. Yeah, you're just going to be confused.
So many. You know what? Maybe that's where the true passion in that position lays. I still am a little bitter. James Williams came off the bench and had like 3 sacks, and I didn't know that guy from Moses. It was unbelievable.
But he didn't have a single digit. It's just because he was some random guy.
Yeah, but still, I just don't know the guy whatsoever. That's part of the reason I don't want all the guys coming off the bench.
Join the I-80 club. You should see the hills.
You found my hill. You were on the wrong hill last time, but you found my hill.
I will say this. You want to talk about a topic I didn't give a shit about? What number will Malachi Coleman be? Don't care.
People
do not care. How will it happen? Will he get paid?
Dude.
Will Dylan Raiola donate to him? Don't give a fuck.
I was taken aback by the interest in that topic.
Me too. Me too.
By the way, people, that happens all the time with players where there's a duplicate number, or now there is. I don't know why with him specifically.
Well, it's because he's played and Dylan hasn't played. Like, I think that's what it came down to. It's like the guy is a returning player, not starter, but a returning player. But he had the number previously.
It was people were so
damn
obvious
who was going to get it, though.
Josh,
what's going to happen?
You know what reminds me of is the contract buyout against Akron and people's interest in that.
Oh, Chuck, if we would have been doing the I-80 club, I would have made, and I'm sure that there are subscribers in here right now who are earnestly wondering what would happen to the buyout. I made fun of those people so hard. Why does it matter? Oh, now you're triggering me for a 6-year-old topic.
I love it. Good.
That topic can go to kindergarten now. It's so old.
Topics people are irrationally interested in. Malachi Coleman's number, the Akron buyout, and the sellout streak. Those are, we need a fourth for the Mount Rushmore of irrationally topics people are irrationally interested in. Maybe cash at the games. That's another thing we didn't
talk about cash at the games today.
Will
the starting quarterback get the number? The guy with 3 catches last year.
Damn.
Boom roasted.
Damn, I guess.
Boom roasted. Oh. Wow.
But yes, I don't need I'm not looking forward to figuring out who's playing who on the defense.
We can tell.
And especially the whole Tommy Hill with 6 being the main, like Quentin Newsom 6 last year, and they were, oh god,
yeah.
I just don't.
Bruce, oh man, I wish ID Club was around for the frost firing. It was. Bruce, were you not in here yet? We were.
He was
pod.
newer. We did a pod that morning.
We did a pod.
5 minutes later, they fired him.
Got fired. Unreal. Absolutely unreal. We had
Bruce.
We had you want to talk about
podcasts?
Dude, I was gonna say we had that emergency pod where Chris Dunker tried to join the club, but he didn't subscribe.
You piece of shit.
Any good Frost stories? Oh yeah, that year was fun. That year was fun.
Good Frost stories.
It's Friday for the best that we didn't have a pod in 2021 because you want to talk about me being insufferable. Oh, Jack and I would have had many a debate in 2021. Many a debate.
Yeah, that would have been good when we were divided. We had him on your show on Mondays, and I was wrong.
Yeah,
By
remember?
I was wrong.
Thank you, big man. To admit that.
I have millions of times. I didn't do it enough to keep some people from leaving the club, but I haven't. Yes.
Remember the time, Jack, when I was coming home from Minneapolis after Nebraska beat Northwestern, and you were like shitting all over me because I was being negative. You're like, they're about to go on a 6-0 run. Oh, yes. Good times.
Yes,
hey,
that's right.
If you are,
I was hosting the show with John, and yes, I was like, yeah,
you had a great time. You had a great old time.
I had a great listen. You know, it's being a little over the top. That's how you get. It's how you get radio listeners. Is sometimes you're a little over the top. I don't know if you know this or not.
Could you tell me more? I've only been listening to the show for 10
I can give
years.
you actually after we sign off, I'll give you some more tips on doing radio.
Pointers.
Like
That'd be great. That'd be much appreciated. Much appreciated. If you are listening to this,
we need a game.
Yes, we do. We do. So 2 things. If you're listening to this and it's Friday, we do another pod tomorrow morning. We would love to have you join us. Patreon.com/IED Club. We are doing a pod on Saturday morning, and there are football games that day. The return of the Saturday flight. It's going to be a fairly empty one this week, but there are games. We will discuss them. We are now done doing pods on days that do not have games or where there aren't games played in the rear view. So that is going to be great. And next week, kickoff week, whatever the hell we're going to call it, Wednesday night, Thursday night watch party, Saturday morning, and then I-80 after dark. Boom, 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 boom. All that stuff. We would love to have you join us. Patreon.com/I80 Club. It's going to be a lovely time this season. Lovely time.
I'm excited. I'm fired up. This Saturday, right heading into the Aer Lingus Classic. Yeah. Go Yellow Jackets.
It's going to be a good time, Jack. It's going to be a good time. Oh,
for sure.
All right. Anything else?
That's all for me.
All right. Perfect.
Saving my voice.
Perfect.
Big week.
All right, everyone. We will see you on Saturday morning. And again, patreon.com/I80 Club. Goodbye.